I single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to unlicensed therapy with Ari Mannis.
But it's good for us to sit in the sauna and sweat.
That's
we
right.
need it. We're sweating out all the toxins, the quarantine toxins.
Yeah, the Postmates.
You've still been doing shit, right? You've been recording your podcast from your studio, going to kill Tony, so you don't care much about dying.
No, I do. Yeah, I do.
I don't. It's okay if you don't.
I did, and then I didn't. And I keep on going back and forth. Like a family member, I think, it's only for sick people and blah, 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 older people. But I have a family member, my cousin, and his girlfriend, 17 in high school, just graduated.
Your cousin's girlfriend is 17?
Yeah.
How old's he?
17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? Oh, she got it. She started having chest pains. A couple of days later, she went to the hospital. Then she got into a ventilator. She died in 5 days. And she was captain of her swim team.
Healthy 17-year-old lady.
Healthy as fuck.
But
no asthma, nothing.
A girl.
A girl. Yeah, I mean, they are weaker by...
Is he out of recording? I want to make sure we pick that up. Okay, cool.
Weaker by nature, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, they could take the extreme cases of anything.
Yeah.
And they'll scare the shit out of you.
Right.
If all you watched was people getting attacked by sharks, you'd be scared of going to the beach every day.
Yeah, I read something today, the flu kills something like 24,000 people a year.
No, more than that. I think it's 40 to 60,000 in the United States. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I got
24 is maybe a really low year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they said Corona's killed over 100,000 in 3 months. So I take it a little serious and go up and down.
But to play the right winger here, there's been 100,000 in 3 months, but they've been checking for it immensely.
Right.
Whereas I imagine during the flu season, a normal year, if someone who's 85 dies, they don't go, he died of the flu. They go, he's 85 and he got sick and died. Right. Whereas now, if someone is 85 and dies,
it's true, and that's why I go back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm not recently. I've been almost forgetting about it. I'll go to Starbucks and I won't have a mask on, and they're like, "Dude, put a mask." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, sorry.
Or I'll come home and I used to be like, "Wash my hands," and I have hand sanitizer in my car, and I'll be like, "Holy shit, I haven't washed my hands." I went to the store. What am I doing?
People have definitely been lacking, especially since all the protests.
Right.
I feel like that just changed the game.
Yeah.
Because everyone now is just we don't care about Corona anymore.
Yeah.
Racism is more important.
I know. And I wonder if we're going to see in 2 weeks, if we are going to see that jump. Because, they did say yesterday, Los Angeles is on this city list of places that are having more deaths. It's going back up again.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But, the sun is supposed to kill it. And it's 100 degrees right now.
Or that was a theory that it might. Yeah. But
there was also a theory it stayed on your phone and shit like that. And then they said yesterday
that doesn't. Yeah, now they're saying the
it.
percentage of death is way lower. And if you're asymptomatic, you can't spread or it's hard to spread it. So basically they're saying what I've been saying all along is quit freaking out and live your life unless you're over 80 years old.
Or if you live by a 5G tower.
How's your girlfriend feel about it all? She's same as you?
Same, yeah.
So she's kind of worried, but not really.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth.
Right. The last thing I'm thinking about right now is Corona, really. I'm more concerned about, your studio, during all these, protests.
You texted me the video.
Yeah, I was thinking of you. I was just wait a second, isn't that right where Ari's studio
I literally didn't know until you said. I was like, holy shit, because Redban texted me a video.
You were on the news. People were looting the place downstairs.
Yeah, looting this building. And so I have that little security camera right there.
Yeah.
So I immediately connected into that, saw that the microphones were still here. I'm like, well, if they looted this place, wouldn't they take these? It's the only expensive thing I have in here.
Yeah. I went to my studio and just cleared out that night. Just cleared out everything out of my studio.
Oh, really?
All my equipment. Yeah. Put it in suitcases. Was the biggest pain in the ass to hook back up yesterday.
But at least you got to reorganize and didn't lose thousands of dollars. But you didn't get looted, right?
No. But Burbank,
But there was some
They
looting.
did come to Burbank. Yeah, there's two gun stores on both sides of my studio.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and they tried to break into one of the gun stores
Really?
next to my house. Yeah, and I guess the guy was just sitting there with a gun going, get the fuck out of here, you know? And they
That's
arrested
awesome.
14 people that night. So it was probably a good idea.
It is the first time since I've lived in LA, because I keep a shotgun hanging over my bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time that I loaded the shotgun.
Oh, really?
And kept it next to my bed instead above my bed.
Wow. Yeah, I was
for like 2 nights.
That night, those 2 nights, I was freaked out. Like the first night, when it got really crazy out over here, there was like people in my backyard that you could tell they didn't live in my neighborhood. Like I have a security cameras all over my house, but I have this alleyway, and you know, like maybe 3 people walk that at night. You know, you'll see 3 people walk down there. There was just gangs of people running up and down, and I'm like, why are all these people in my neighborhood? I was like getting fucking freaked out.
The protests have gone right by my apartment building twice.
Yeah.
Just like thousands of people walking by, and every time I've gone outside and just stood next to my car and watched just to make sure no one breaks my windows or something.
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe, he lives down the street somewhere by the farmer's market. He said he woke up and he said it was one of the worst nights ever. Just people screaming. He saw people everywhere all around his house. The next morning, his coffee shop's gone. Like his grocery, Whole Foods is destroyed. Like every single store that he goes to every day and every person he talks to on a regular basis, their shit's gone.
Damn.
Like, just like a bomb went off.
I know that a lot of people are pro looting because they're saying it's part of the movement. I think I saw Brian Simpson post some looting stuff. I'm not pro looting.
Really? Pro looting is
because they're saying it's part of, this is how we're making a statement. This is how we're showing how important this cause is.
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, and I kind of get where they're coming from.
I got it where they're coming from, but I still don't agree.
For it. Yeah, I'm not for it.
I'm not
There's
for crime.
other ways to do it.
And I think all the people that were for looting are now more quiet because I think they realized a lot of people are looting.
Yeah.
Are just pieces of shit.
Pieces of shit, and
white
these
people,
are like
people,
black-owned businesses,
right?
And
Yeah,
it's like
small.
everything they have,
Uh-huh.
and now half these businesses are not opening up again. By the way,
Right.
like you see, coming here, I think maybe more than 75% of all the stores I went by had boards on their windows from smashed windows and stuff, and I bet half those places aren't going to open back up because
for sure.
Yeah, they're
swingers.
Yeah, Jesus.
I can't believe that place shut down. That means
That
to
makes
me
no sense.
the owner of that business was terrible with money because that place was making money.
Yeah,
for sure.
There was a wait every time I went there. At 2 a.m, there was a wait.
Yeah, everyone I know goes there. If that place isn't making money, they're doing something wrong. I don't even feel bad for them.
I like Starbucks announced today that they were closing 400 stores, and I was like, oh my God, Starbucks is affected by this. But if you read like the rest of it, it says, and they've cut down how many stores they're opening up this year by 50%. They're only opening up 300 stores. So I'm like, wait, they're closing 400 stores and opening 300.
I know. I was like,
that
Starbucks probably closes 400 stores anyway.
Right.
At any
it's
given
probably
moment.
all the ones that were torn and burned down from all these protests.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. But I'm glad your studio's safe. I'm glad.
Me too. I'm glad everyone we know. I don't think we know anyone who died of corona in the comedy community.
No, I know a couple people that got it.
Yeah, I
like,
thought maybe like
Joe Coy or something.
Brian Scalaro would die or something like that.
Yeah, I was worried about a few of my friends, definitely, like Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz,
I mean, what the fuck is
it
corona?
could have been him.
I mean, Lee. Everyone.
They could have died together.
everyone
Wouldn't
had
that be the
to-
cutest, sweetest podcast? That'd be so sad.
No.
But if they died like holding hands together, that
Come
would.
on, cocksucker, hold my hand. Now, did you take your drone? I know you made that funny drone video. That was one of my favorite videos.
Dude, it was crazy. So
good.
to me, it was like a throwaway idea. I was literally up here on the roof of this podcast studio, and all the protests were going past it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should get drone footage of it. And I just got in the drone a couple days ago. So
Were you nervous? Because I know.
I was very nervous. Like I didn't want to do it alone. So I had my neighbor Alex come with me. And I was just scared that someone was going to throw something at it or a cop would shoot it down. I didn't know. I was like, also, I found out this after, but according to FAA regulations, you're not allowed to fly a drone over people.
Oh.
So I was actually breaking the law shooting that video, but there was tons of drones out there. I wasn't the only one.
Okay.
But yeah, I was literally recording, and then I was like, hey, how funny would it be if I made a drone like review video and this was the footage? I was like, hey, today we're going to be, and so initially that was the idea. And then Santino gave me the idea to pretend like I didn't know what was going on.
which goes perfect with all your other stuff, you know. Like,
Yeah.
that was beautiful. Now I haven't had a drone. I'm like, one of
Dude,
those, like I
you
want
have to get
but
the
I've
one I
been-
got. It's
you got the
sick. I got the
DJ
Mavic Air 2.
Yeah.
It's only, I mean, it's still a lot, but it's $1,000 for the
Right.
package, which is a lot. But for what it is,
I heard it's the best one out right now for the money.
It comes with 3 batteries. They each last a half hour, and you feel like a pilot. Flying it around, like you could literally fly it for miles away from it. Goes forward. It's so fast. It's so stable. It's small. It fits in a backpack, so you could take it anywhere. And I mean, you saw the footage. That was all footage I actually got,
Right.
except for the one shot of the people looting. I wasn't there for that, but
Don't you have to
beautiful
like?
footage.
Don't you like? There's only like another thing besides flying over people. I heard there's only small amount of places you can actually fly, like parks.
I think technically
you're not allowed to really fly over.
Yeah, by the actual law, you're not supposed to fly in airspace where there's other aircrafts.
Mm-hmm.
And in LA, there's other aircrafts everywhere. So like over my apartment, there's always helicopters and little planes, and same with here. So I think technically you're not supposed to, but I've just been doing it.
But doesn't it register it with like?
I registered it with the FAA, but I don't think they keep track of these little drones. There's no way they can. There's so many of them. I also kept it below. I wasn't flying as high as a helicopter. I was flying like 150 feet.
Right.
And you're also technically supposed to keep it. A rule is within line of sight. You're not supposed. If the drone leaves your actual eyesight, that's technically breaking the rules, and I break that rule all the time.
Yeah, because I know somebody that bought one, and he's just like, dude, there's like 2 places to go within like 50 miles that I'm allowed to fly, and I'm just like, oh well.
Yeah, I think by law it's
Yeah.
pretty strict, but I've just been breaking it. There's even the cheaper one that's $500 where you don't even have to register with the FAA. So I was thinking about getting that one too.
Oh, really?
So that way I'm not breaking any rules.
Huh. A bad video probably.
It's 2.7K instead of 4K, but I think it's still pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that footage looked great, man. It looked really professional.
It has
and stuff.
ND filters. It's great. It shoots in flat image profile. It's
That's great.
and
You should
then
have got that. You should have did some footage from the one the other day that we were supposed to do a podcast, and it was like the largest protest ever.
Oh, yeah.
You see that? There's that.
I didn't
somebody
even see
did
it, but there's so
through it.
many
Yeah.
through it. Yeah, there were so many. And then also I used it for that dumb sketch where I beat up Stephen Fury.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, there was some drone shots there. So I think you'd have fun with it. Literally the first day using it, I go, this was worth it.
Really?
It was worth $1,000. Just because it's even without recording, just flying it around and watching the video on your phone.
This is
It's
cool.
just you feel like a pilot.
Yeah, I know.
It's so cool.
I've almost bought one so many times, but I just feel like that's one of those. I feel like you are kind of the same way. Like we love like gadgets and tech and shit. And there's been so many times where I'm just like, oh, I'm going to buy this, and I buy something like a camera, and then
it's outdated 2 months later.
and I
Oh
never
my
use
God.
it after it's outdated. I'm like, fuck this camera, you know. And
That's
I've probably
technology
used it
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the worst. All cameras, computers. I think it happens the most with computers.
Yeah.
I'll buy a MacBook and then the next MacBook
16-inch comes out. I'm like, I want a 16-inch.
I got the 16-inch.
Yeah, me too. It's a good one.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. How many MacBooks do you have just laying around? I
think I'm better than you in this regard. Well, I think I'm just more poor than you.
Right.
But I sell. I make a rule to myself, like before I can reward myself with a new MacBook, I have to sell my old one.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I don't get much for it, I sell the old ones.
I usually give my old one to my girlfriend, or I'll replace one of my computers in my studio with that one.
Yeah.
And so there's like
You
a
have a
filter
system,
down.
yeah.
But then when it gets down to the bottom, it's like, well, I have like 3 MacBooks that are just useless. And like if I sell them, like it's even worth it.
Yeah,
like, what
you
do I
might get
do?
$100 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the cool thing is with podcasting equipment, it seems to last a little longer.
Yeah.
Like the SM7B has been out since the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the best mics.
Yeah, and it's
all
still the
that
best.
stuff.
That's crazy to me.
Right.
That
yeah, my shit
microphone.
usually breaks before then I have to buy like something else. Like I have so many mixers. I have a wall of mixers.
Do you still give people podcast advice, or do you ignore people when they ask you for it?
I mean, I do. I usually direct people to YouTube. You know, like nowadays, it's like anything you want is on YouTube. Like I probably get maybe once every week, 2 weeks, I probably get, hey man, can you help me out? I'm gonna start a studio in my house. I like that email cut and paste a million times from like so many people. And I usually give them.
Oh, so you literally just have an email you send to people?
No. I mean,
it's
it's like the exact same question from, a million times. And it's like I kind of give them like the basics, like, if I would start off small. I always tell people to start off small. Like I was like, you know what, just buy a super cheap mixer, cheap mics, or do it on your iPhone using your voice recorder. Do it 5 times. If you do it every week for 5 times, then upgrade yourself a little bit more. I just know too many people that probably go in and spend $3,000 buy a studio, and they're just like we were talking about. They do 2 podcasts and never touch it again.
Yeah.
And because it's more about making yourself do it than it is actually what you're using.
Consistency is the hardest thing. And even with myself, I've been doing my podcast for a few years now, but the first couple of years I maybe did one every 3 months or something. And then this year, for the first time, I forced myself. I was like, you know what? I'm doing it weekly, no matter what. And I think it's been a good exercise.
Yeah, it's great. It's hard to do though sometimes, especially like, you know, you wake up, it's like, man,
It's hard to do during quarantine too, because my friend Marco books a lot of the guests for me. And he says that he's been emailing publicists and they've been getting upset that we want them to come during Corona, like coming back with a little attitude.
Oh, really?
And
some people are a little spicy about the subject still.
Yeah, it's like I forget that we live in LA and it's become this liberal issue where if you say, "Hey, do you want to meet up?" They not only do they say no, but they look at you like you're a murderer.
Yeah. And I refuse to do Zoom. Like
me too.
I got one today. Will you do a Zoom? I'm like, nope. I just usually ignore it. I'm against it.
I don't do Zoom stand-up shows. I don't do Zoom podcasts.
I'm against Zoom stand-up shows. One, why are you putting your material online in such a shitty format anyways? You know, well, you're going to have a Netflix special later. Don't you want to have that? Your shit's already out there.
On a Zoom recording.
And so, like, no one's going to come back and listen to that podcast if they know it's a quarantine episode, if there's Zoom quality in it. You know, like, have you tried to listen to a podcast that somebody's doing over Zoom? It's crap.
Wait, but isn't Kill Tony doing that?
Well, most of ours is in studio, but then we have people call in.
The 1 minute.
The 1 minute. Like they send 1 minute of video, so that's not. But then we interview them for like 8 minutes, and that is. And like they're fine. These episodes are fine.
And it's like, what can you do?
What
you
else
have
can
to
we
do that. Yeah.
But I'm against it for the most part. I don't.
Even before quarantine, because you would get requests like, "Hey, will you do my podcast over Skype?" Because their podcast is located on the East Coast. I go, "Hey, if I'm ever in your area, I'll do it in person."
Right.
But I don't want to.
I agree.
Do those.
That's so
I've done a couple.
Well, that's so funny that we both think that because I don't think we've talked about this.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's just here's why for me, I wouldn't watch one.
Right.
Even if it was my favorite person, if it was you, if it was Louis C.K., if it was one of my favorite comedians on a Zoom podcast, I'm not listening to that. Yeah. So why would I do it if I'm not going to listen to it?
There's so much over talking too, because like half of what a podcast is watching the other person, seeing where your cues are to talk. But when it's Zoom, there's so much talking over. There's 2 people talking at once. There's gargling. It's
connection issues.
It's connection. Yeah. It's just. Shit.
Even if they're both using microphones, it sounds like they're talking over the phone. Yeah. It's just, it's shit. Like, actually, perfect example. This is actually an interesting story. That's inside info. I don't think anyone has this knowledge. So, the latest episode of WTF with Mark Maron is with Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh.
And fun fact is Jerry doesn't like Mark Maron.
Oh, really?
Never wanted to do his podcast, has turned it down, has been offered it plenty of times, has always said no. So I saw that episode pop up, and I was like, I have to listen to this because I wonder what made Jerry change his mind. And it was over phone. It was over the phone. So that's what made him change his mind. Yeah, he didn't have to go actually meet up with him.
Like, so this is my out.
Yeah.
I don't have to be
He's
here.
like, I'll just get it out of the way.
That's awesome. Jerry Seinfeld's a dick.
That's what I've heard. I've never met him. I heard another story from Barry Katz. Where Louis C.K. was Barry Katz's client, and he was opening up for Jerry Seinfeld. And Jerry was famous, but he wasn't megastar famous.
Right.
But he was still doing a theater, so he was pretty famous. Louis was The show was supposed to start, I don't remember, let's say 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock it hits, and they're still seating people, which happens almost every show I think I've ever done starts late, unless there's another show right after. So it's supposed to start, but they're only 30% done seating the audience. So Jerry goes, "Hey, we're supposed to start." And Barry was like, "Oh, yeah, they still need to seat people." And he goes, "That's why we have a fucking opener." And then made Louis go out there while they're still.
What a dick. you know.
It's just a story I heard. I wasn't there, so it could be fake, but
that sounds about right. And like I never thought he was a dick. until his own show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. But if you just watch that show, he's a cunt in that show. like he doesn't hide it. Like,
But some of him being a dick makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Like there was that video with what's that girl? Was it Keisha or something? He was on a red carpet. And some lady comes up to him, some pop star, to give him a hug, and he goes, I'm not hugging you. I don't know who you are," and refuses to hug this girl.
Wow.
And it went viral because it's like this famous thing.
That's
Goes,
hilarious.
"Oh my God, give me a hug," and Jerry goes, "No."
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is funny that he is a dick, but it like, can you imagine working with him or having to work around? Like, I feel like that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, he could be a prima donna or
Yeah.
something, especially since he's been working for so long and knows that he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to work. He's
Yeah.
literally working for fun.
Who does that?
That's kind of cool though. That makes me respect him. That he's
if you
a
are
billionaire.
so rich, would you still work? Like,
If I was a billionaire, I would not do comedy
and
anymore.
I would probably work, but it would be like, no, I will create a smoothie stand on my island, you know?
A smoothie stand that loses money, but I just want to own a business.
Right.
It's just so I could have free smoothies every
Or
day.
ices. Yeah, definitely.
What about the story of Jerry Seinfeld? Oh, were you there when he performed at the Comedy Store a few times?
Yeah, you know my story, right?
Oh yeah, you were in the room. Yeah, you shout out a question. What'd you ask him again? Did you ask him some dumbass question?
Yeah, well, I was drunk, of course, and he was the first time he was back in like 30 years. You know, this was like maybe 3 years ago. I don't know. And he was like, hey, doing this question and answer thing at the end.
Yeah,
And everyone was like asking stupid questions like, what's your favorite cereal?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
It was so dumb. It was frustrating.
And this woman's like, I was sitting on the floor next to Jeff, the keyboardist, and this woman sitting over here was like, I just heard her go, I wish somebody would ask something funny. This is stupid, or something. Like she was like complaining. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And so I go, hey Jerry, do you wipe your butt standing or sitting down? And the problem is that he didn't hear me the first time, and so everyone in the room heard me except him, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, why are you asking Jerry this?" and then I said it again. He's like, "What'd you say?" And I said it again. And he goes, "I can't hear you." And then I decided a third time. Like looking back at it, he probably was doing it on purpose. And then the third time he goes, "What about my wife?" And I'm just like, so then I scream it. And he goes, "You don't have to scream. I'm like 3 feet away." And I'm like, "Well, you can't hear me."
So he was just fucking with you.
Maybe. Like. And then I go, "Do you wipe your butt standing or sitting down?" And he goes, "Oh, I wipe it standing up. Or no, I wipe it sitting down. No, standing up. And then I walk around." And like he said something weird about what he does and then walks around. And then I remember everyone's pissed off at me. Like I think Adam was like he's about to ban me and like
really he was that pissed.
I mean, people were pissed off. Like,
I remember being in the room going, "Oh my God," but I wasn't pissed. It was just like, what's he doing?
And then somebody in the audience, I guess, recorded. I think it was a comic. Some random person sent it to me, my email address, and so I have audio of it somewhere.
Hilarious.
And I know some comics love it. Like Christina Pajitsky and Tom Segura, when they heard about it, they thought it was the funniest thing ever because they like poop. You know, everyone who doesn't.
And they know Jerry's the kind of a dick.
Yeah, exactly. But other comics were like, "Really, dude, I can't believe you did that." Like they were like serious about it. And I'm like,
okay,
chill the
I
fuck
could
out.
understand not liking you do that, but I couldn't understand being upset with you about it.
Right.
It's like, who cares?
Who gives a shit?
Who are you hurting?
Yeah.
But I remember you asked that ridiculous question, but then the question after yours was even more dumb that it made me forget all about your question.
Yeah.
The final question of the night, the lady raises her hand and Jerry goes, "What's up?" And she goes, "It's my birthday." And like everyone was just like, "What the fuck?" Like it's not even a question.
Right.
And then Jerry goes, "Oh, it's your birthday, huh?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "This is how he got off the stage." He goes, "Who else here has a birthday?" And there was like 15 other people who was their birthday that night. And he goes, that's how important your birthday is." And he gets off the stage and everyone just cheers.
Yeah, and what's so funny is that I forgot all about that part, and that people retelling the story about me doing it, they go, "Yeah, Brian pushed him off stage after I was doing
It was
that
that
joke."
lady.
I know, but they all blame me. Like, "Oh, he left because of Redban."
No, he took a few questions after you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun night. It was fun to hear him talk about how like Mitzi hated him.
Yeah.
And all that
Mitzi
stuff.
would have loved me that question.
That could be your defense.
Yeah.
I was just doing
I
what
did whatever
Mitzi would have
Mitzi would-
wanted.
yeah,
She
exactly.
was just my comedy mom.
I'm glad the Comedy Store didn't get fucked up. During
Well, they
all this.
boarded it like
yeah.
before, right?
Yeah,
That
which
would
was smart.
That would have been crazy if they like spray painted over all the names. They had to redo the whole.
Yeah, or
names.
people just started writing names all over the place. and
Yeah,
stuff like
Mitch
that.
tweeted. He's like, if someone wants to spray paint my name on the wall, that's okay.
Yeah, or just erase names. Comics should have just done that. Like, like blacked
Just
out the
black
names.
out all the
of-
names of people they don't like.
Yeah, I
Or
almost
the
said
ones they
somebody's
never
name. I'm
heard.
glad I did.
Oh, now I want to know. If you had to erase one name, what if that's how it worked when you got passed as a paid
You get to
regular?
take a
you
name
had
off.
to, you had to replace somebody.
How cool would that be? Like if it was like a Survivor Island.
That would make it so much more dramatic.
And that person is not a paid regular anymore
Right.
once that happens.
Right, but then but maybe it has to be like someone from a certain era.
No,
or
it
something.
doesn't.
It could be
It
any,
could be
but-
anybody.
But then the shitty part is then you could be like Joe Rogan, you're gone, and then
That's
the
the name
store
of the
loses
game. That's the
millions of
name-
dollars.
that's the name
It's like
of
no,
the
you can't do it.
That's
They
the
have a
game.
special list that's omitted from getting blacked out.
Or you'd have to it's like a strike. So like if you want Joe Rogan, well you got one strike on Joe
Oh,
Rogan.
and 3 strikes and then he's out.
Right. So
That'd
that
be
means like it's 3 regulars want that one regular out.
No one would dare strike against Joe Rogan,
I
even
know.
if they. I mean,
Could
everyone likes
you
Joe
imagine-
Rogan,
I know,
but
but
even
could
if they
you
didn't,
imagine?
it's like.
Could you imagine being the one guy? Oh, I heard you strike Joe Rogan. You think that's a great idea? God, you would be a living hell after
my
that.
God. It's like that story. Actually, Stephen Kramer Glickman told it on this podcast, like a year ago, but that he was the one who called Joe Rogan to tell him that he was banned, and then he got just the nonstop calls.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember I stopped coming to the Comedy Store for I don't know, like 5-6 years or something like that. After that, and I remember
You stopped when Joe stopped.
Yeah, because I thought, oh well, I'm probably banned also since I'm the one that made the video.
Yeah, actually, you would think so, huh? But you weren't, or you were?
I was never officially banned, but I was banned by proxy. I mean, it's what I thought. But I didn't even want to go there anyway. After that happened,
Right.
all of us kind of left. But I remember for like years after that, every time I drove by the Comedy Store, I would like yell Joe Rogan's name out and stuff like that, and people would be like, "What the fuck?"
You would just literally drive by and go, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I forget what it was. I said something Joe Rogan or I can't remember what it was now, but something about Joe Rogan. Bring back Joe Rogan or long live Joe Rogan. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I remember always doing it. And just
People would do that now, and it actually wouldn't be weird, even though he's back.
Right.
If someone yelled out "Long live Joe
now-
Rogan," people would be like, "Yep, he's got a lot of fans."
Yeah.
People are like,
yeah, exactly.
Was that video a planned event?
No. I used to always record videos at the Comedy Store, like that was that's what I got hired to do from Joe and moved out from Ohio. And then maybe like a couple months before that happened, Paulie got pissed off at me and Joe for doing
filming.
He's like, dude, you're making a TV show. You can't just be recording it. This is you can't make a TV show. And we're like, I don't think he understood what we were doing. We were making videos from MySpace.
You were basically like not vlogging, but kind of like more closer to vlogging.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he banned us from filming there, and I mean, looking back at it, it was kind of weird. Now that I know the Comedy Store way different, because like every time he would do a set, I would set a tripod up in the back of the OR and record him. Like I would record every set. I would record, him hanging out with the fans out on the patio. Like I would just follow him around with a camera.
And at this time, just to put it into context, he was famous, but he wasn't
He was
what
Fear
he is
Factor
now.
famous.
Yeah, he wasn't. It wasn't
Right.
the same level.
Right. No. He was though pretty famous from Fear Factor. That was pretty big. But then, so Paulie said no more cameras, and so that just made me and Joe Joe goes, okay, now we have to find the smallest cameras that we can buy with the best resolution. So I had all these like Sony those little flip camera things, and
Just
I had,
the tiniest camcorders you can get.
They weren't even they were cameras that did video. Like those little
still
point
and shoots. Got it.
So I had like 2 point and shoots on me. I did have one little camcorder. I had like 2 cell phones that could do video.
Because there were no GoPros at this time.
Yeah,
right?
there was no GoPros, and like it was when cell phone had the first one that came out that did video.
So it was really bad.
It was like the Motorola,
but really bad video, right? Yeah.
Really shitty video.
VGA quality.
Yeah, if you watch the video, Carlos Mencia versus Joe Rogan, the last 2 minutes was filmed because all my batteries had died. Were filmed on my camera or my phone, and that's the one with like Steve Renazizi, Don Barris at the very end of the video, so you could see the quality. But so I always had cameras on me, and once in a while I'd pull it out, and be like, look around, be like, pull it out and film a little of Joe doing something.
Now, when you were paranoid about filming at the Comedy Store because Pauly said you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Were you looking like? Did all the managers know to stop you from filming, or were
All
you
the
just
managers
looking
didn't
around
care.
for Pauly?
It was only Pauly and Dean.
Got it.
You remember Dean?
I didn't know Dean, but I know. I think I met him.
They were
'cause
like
he's been
buddies,
there.
best buddies. So those are the only two I worried about. Like Richie was on my seat and
no one else
that.
cared.
No one else cared. So I didn't really do it much though. It was only for emergencies. Like if somebody,
You had it ready to go if you needed.
yeah. So because Joe had a lot of crazy fans, so like once in a while, like it was almost like an insurance thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know. And then that day, Ari Shafir comes running out. I'm on the front patio, and Ari goes, "Do you have any cameras on you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Dude, come in right now. Joe and Carlos are on stage." And so I run in and I start I just hook up my camera and I start filming it and stuff like that. I remember Kurt Fox came up to me and goes, "Bro, you need to put that away." And he tried to and I'm like, "Dude, get the
because
fuck
he's
away
good
from
friends
me."
with Pauly
He
too.
was working on the show at that time
on which
Mind
show?
of Mencia.
Oh,
And
got
so
it.
he tried to stop it. Thank God he didn't, because that would have changed everything. But and then luckily I got the audio from that night from somebody else, and so I could build the story more, than.
Oh, so the audio, you had to sync the audio,
I had to
different
sync
audio?
the audio, yeah.
Oh, wow,
Because
I
I
didn't know.
because I didn't get the beginning part of it, So I had to use the audio to kind of build the story around it. And they got the audio that I was given was better than my camera audio, but still kind of sucked. And back then there wasn't like Logic Pro and all those fun filters and shit. So I've always wanted to go back and re-edit it because there was
remastered.
Well, the funny thing is,
Carlos
that night I went home and spent maybe 8 hours all night. I think I was done around 8 in the morning or something like that. And I stayed up all night, edited it. Then I just hit upload, went to bed, woke up.
But uploaded public.
Yeah, public.
Yeah.
Woke up 6 hours later, 8 hours later. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that video uploaded already. Woke up, and back then, no video got that many hits.
Right.
There was I think 2 million hits when I woke up on it already.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was already on TMZ. It was already all over the news. It was like I woke up to
So did you instantly
insanity.
call Joe?
Oh, I had 1,000 mixed texts from Joe. I woke up. I'm like,
And
what
was he stoked about it, or was he take this down?
He was fucking cloud nine. This is what we've been trying to do for so long because everyone has known up to that point.
You took down a monster.
Yeah, exactly. We had known about this for a lot of comics had already known about Carlos for a long time, so it was kind of finally something that people are finally realizing.
Yeah.
But
That's so,
and what's crazy though is that I had all this extra footage. And I was going to make a part 2. I was like, I'm too tired. This is enough.
Yeah.
I'll just make a part 2 of it. And so I was like, I have a whole nother chunk of footage that no one's ever seen. But that day or the day after, Adam Carolla, when he had the radio show, contacted me, goes, "Can you come on my show and talk about this video?" And even on the show, I'm just like, well, wait, I have a part 2 about to release. And Carlos people heard it, and then they threatened his lawyers after me, like, if you release a second part, you're fucked. And I was like, all right, fine, we'll just stay there. But the second part, what was cool is,
did you ever release it?
No, I don't.
Do you still have it?
I should. I should find and do
Dude, I can't believe
I know.
you still.
I know. But
that's crazy.
I know. But the
my
second
gosh.
part's even better because after all that shit happened, Carlos wasn't even supposed to do comedy that night. By the way, he was not. He was not even on the lineup.
He bumped someone.
He bumped. Yeah, Kirk Fox, I think, is who he bumped. And so after all that shit was done, Carlos was destroyed. Carlos tried to do stand-up after that. He tried to do a set for 10, and 2 minutes in the set, the whole audience started going chanting, na, 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 hey, hey,
Oh, you mean
goodbye.
that night?
That night, right when Joe got off stage after fighting on stage.
Carlos was still up there.
Stayed on stage and just tried to do stand-up
But
comedy.
the whole audience hated his guts.
They all chanted, na, 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 hey, goodbye, and he had to stop. And so I had all that on.
Dude, how have you not put this out there? Because he's not suing you now.
True.
Or you feel bad for him. Is that why you haven't put it out there?
Now he's injured. Now,
that could
have
be.
you
I
looked
could see
at
that.
his stuff lately?
If that was your reasoning for not putting out,
Yeah.
I can understand because it's like, what's the
I mean,
point?
what's the point?
He's
I feel kind of bad for him now. I mean, I'm a fan of watching his Instagram because it's horrible. But one of my favorite videos that he has was probably from 4 months ago, and you could tell it was before a show. and somebody was just sitting there recording, like had like a camcorder on like a thing, and he acted like it was his show from last night. And he goes on, he goes, "Hey, thanks very much, everybody." And you could tell whoever edited in generic laughter, like, but then stops it. Like it just stops. Like the audio just cuts off. Like there's not like a fade of laugh. And you just sit there and watch it. It is the most saddest thing ever. Every time he tells
him on stage?
Yeah, and he's acting like
he's acting like he's performing for an audience, but it's clearly just him by himself.
Yeah, exactly. And like he's like pointing at people, and you could tell that there's nobody there and stuff.
Oh God.
I'll send you the video. You can like put it right here.
Nashville, Tennessee, what's going on? You guys ready for a good time tonight? Everyone will be made fun of. Everyone. Including me, my mom and dad, and a lot of things and people that you hold sacred to. You guys ready for that? All right, let's have a good time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Because I don't think I've ever like publicly said anything about it, because again, it's kind of like I don't want to. Well, I guess I
you don't want to. You don't want to kick a guy while he's down, and he's clearly
but the audio is what you have to pay attention to, because I don't think like maybe he has like a Cricket phone or something, like he doesn't hear it on his phone. But if you put headphones,
he's also just like kind of an old man who's probably not good at technology. And he probably watched it and was just like, "Yep, put it out. Yeah, that's good enough.
Sounds great to me, homie." But yeah, it's
you know who else has a fun, if we're talking about kicking a guy while he's down, a really fun Instagram to watch that's kind of sad is a Dat fan.
Oh, I forgot about Dat fan.
He does he does same thing. He adds laugh track. It'll be like him performing in front of a curtain in his apartment.
Oh,
and
no way.
He'll like pretend like he's on a show and add a laugh track, and he teaches a comedy class in his apartment now, and he's just like...
And he still sleeps under his little desk.
I think he's married now. But it's just like, how watching a guy who was season 1 of Last Comic Standing winner.
Right.
Even though, people say he wasn't good and didn't deserve it, whatever, but going from a touring big headliner to teaching a comedy class in your apartment in Burbank.
Ugh, comedy classes, man. Comedy classes. I better not go there, but never mind. Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts on comedy classes are...
Have you ever taken one?
No, I've never taken one.
Good.
But my thoughts... I've taken improv classes, which
different.
I did... They were stressed me out. I didn't like them. But my thoughts on stand-up comedy classes are... You definitely don't need them. Like, my advice to a new comedian would be to go do open mics and just write and perform. But some people... want that supportive environment. They're too scared to make the jump.
Yeah, but that's what open mics are. It's just like,
but they're even too scared of that. They want someone to hold their hand and say, "Hey, this is how you do comedy. Come here, little boy.
Yeah,
come up on. You stand here. You hold it like this. Okay."
But the problem is that anyone that does comedy classes, they're sculpting these people into being just as shitty as they are, because that's why they're doing comedy classes.
But people we know who've done comedy classes who are funny, Brody Stevens.
Yes.
Kirk Fox. What's his name? It's a giant Italian guy. Giant comedian, Italian. Sebastian Maniscalco.
Sebastian did?
Took a comedy class. Anthony Jeselnik took a comedy class. Now, that being said, I think any single one of those comedians would say it's not the class that made me the comedian I am, but that's what got their foot in the door.
I think some people also just need, like, I don't know. I'm not 100% against comedy classes, but I'm more like maybe just go to one so you understand the basics. But nowadays you could just watch Kill Tony, and that's pretty much.
You can watch Joe Rogan, Kill Tony, Mark Maron.
Yeah, you can just watch YouTube.
I think that's the main reason I didn't take a comedy class, is because I was listening to podcasting before I did comedy, and you would hear comedians talk shit about them, bringer shows, certain things. So I knew I was lucky, and I never did bringer shows, and I never did a comedy class because of people like Mark Maron and Joe Rogan who would talk about it on their podcast.
Yeah. Because nowadays it's a little different. YouTube is so amazing, by the way. Can we just talk about how YouTube's a library now? Like the other day.
You can learn how to make the other day I watched a video of making a cement countertop.
Yeah. Anything you want. or like just like fixing stuff, or like you know, you pretty much can type in anything and there's a video for it. I love it, dude.
And they make it look so easy, and then I go to try it and I go, fuck, I still need to hire someone. Even though they're showing me how to do it, I still want to hire someone to do this.
Yeah. Do you watch a lot of YouTube?
A lot of YouTube, yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I watch more YouTube than like Hulu or Netflix.
Same.
Now. And it's amazing because I'll constantly find shows. And I'm like, how am I enjoying watching this? Like, this is how nerdy I am. You might like this, actually.
I'm sure I could,
This guy just buys, he fixes, like, electronics. And he...
the guy who fixes Nintendo Switches?
Yes.
Yeah, I've watched that guy.
Oh, my God. He'll just be like, I bought 10 Xboxes.
Yeah, he literally has a video. He's like, okay, so I just bought this pack of 10 broken Switches.
Yeah.
Let's go through each one and
That's
see what's
him.
wrong with them. And first he undoes them all and he's like, okay, this one needs a new battery. This one needs a new motherboard.
Yes.
This one needs this. And then he goes through and fixes them. Then he sells them on eBay, tells you how much he spent, how much money he made.
Right.
And it comes out to be like so not worth it to me.
It's totally not worth it. He's making more money on the videos than he is.
Yeah, he's like, all right, so this pack of 10, I spent 26 hours fixing them and I made $200.
Right.
And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. But that's it. I don't know, it's so relaxing though, just watching him like slowly look at soldering, you know, solder points and just
again, it's
stuff.
one of those things where you're like, man, I should just buy a Nintendo Switch and fix it. But he makes it look easy, but it's so hard.
That looks
that
crazy.
guy might as well build one from scratch.
That's crazy
He
that
could,
you
probably.
watched that. I thought I was the only one that watched that.
Oh, dude, I watched this lately. I've been watching this guy. It's called My Self-Reliance. And it's just a guy in Canada who lives out in the forest, and he builds cabins and just lives out in the forest, but completely self-reliant. Doesn't go to the store for anything and just hand carves shit and cooks meals. But he doesn't talk. It's just him for an hour and a half, like chopping wood.
Wow.
And that's it. That's
good too.
But it's beautiful.
I got one for you. You might like. I just found out this guy. It got me onto the whole genre. I first started watching something called Adventures with a Purpose. I don't know if you've heard that.
I haven't heard that one.
So it's this guy and this team of scuba divers, and they're trying to help the environment by getting cars out of ponds and lakes, you know, that are just sitting there fucking up the water and shit. And he'll pull out these cars and there'll be like a body inside. And they're like, oh shit. Like this guy's been missing for
This is a YouTube channel?
Yes, in 2 years. Like this body's been missing for 2 years. So they have to get the police involved.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's so, because now.
What's it called?
It's called Adventures with a Purpose.
Adventures with a Purpose.
And he's found like, I think 2 or 3 bodies so far.
That's so many bodies.
Like one is just a kid and he was driving to work once and he's been missing for 2 years. One was like he's been missing for 10 years and he was just all bones and stuff. And
they show the bones?
No,
too?
but the one of them they did show, the bone one they did show because they were broadcasting live, but they had to go back and so if you were watching it live, you saw it.
That's so gnarly.
But now they blur it out a little. But then that got me on the whole genre of there's a whole genre of people that just go scuba diving looking for treasure.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So like this guy's like pulling out like 5 GoPros every time he goes scuba diving, like thousands of pairs of sunglasses, cell phones.
Wait, that's what he finds down there?
And like there's one guy he finds like constantly is finding guns. Like he'll find like guns that are used in murders, and stuff like that. So the cool part is like he'll find a gun, then call the police, and then half of the video is the police checking the serial number and then going, oh yeah, this was used in a murder. We've been looking for this gun, you know, and shit like that. So it's like a whole story.
That's so cool.
So I mean, I never thought I would like YouTube videos that much, but
yeah, I even like vloggers now.
Yeah.
I'll watch like David Dobrik and these corny vloggers that just film their day, but they've mastered it.
Yeah.
They'll film because it's so entertaining because they'll film themselves for like 30 hours and then they'll cut it down to 5 minutes.
Right.
You could do that to anyone's life and they're going to be entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing a lot of virtual reality shows, and these are like, you know, just me playing in virtual reality, like 5 hours long. And there's like, you know, it's not a podcast.
You just walk around and like talk to strangers on the internet.
Well, that's just it. It's like people who are fans of like Kill Tony and me and stuff like that. will start coming every time I do it. So now I go in, it's like hanging out with 20 people that I know, but one looks like SpongeBob, one looks like,
and you just walk up to them and like talk to them.
Yeah, we're just hanging out, and then we'll go to different levels. Like we'll go to a bar or a strip club in the game, and it's like pretty good, or the other day we found this grand.
What does it feel like when you're doing it? Does it feel like you're at a bar talking to people, or does it feel like
it feels like you're hanging out with somebody that looks like SpongeBob talking to them?
Yeah, because you can't see their face.
Right. But you could hear their voice, and
So
you could do things like
fun?
reach out and touch their hair.
Do you
and
do
stuff.
that?
Yeah. There's girls that have really nice tits, so I'll just like jiggle their
Well,
boobs.
it could be a guy though.
Well, most of them are guys. So,
Yeah.
But no, there's some girls too. But what's crazy is I record those things for like 5.5 hours, 6 hours long. It's definitely not a podcast. It's definitely not like I'm going to put this on MP3. But lately, I've been having my girlfriend go through them, and she'll edit the shit down to like a 5-hour episode into like 15 minutes. And there's so many
how does
crazy
she have the
things.
patience to do that?
I was like, do you want a real job, or do you just want to do this? It's like, okay,
You pay her to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I just go whatever you want. Just tell me. But
Well, however much money you want.
yeah, or if she.
What if she's like, I want $10,000?
Well, no, she's not going to want that. I mean, like, but like within reason, like, oh, I want a new pair of shoes, or I need to pay this bill, or whatever.
Oh
I'll just do
yeah,
like,
daddy.
yeah,
I'll be your girlfriend.
Shit. Anyways, so she will edit this down in like 15 minutes, and it's amazing out of all that crap, how funny that 15 minutes is. Like there's like crazy shit happens, or somebody says something ridiculous.
Right. So it comes out to be funny
Yeah.
little videos.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
So I'm going to start uploading those now. But
Okay, I have some more interview style questions for you. When did you start doing stand up through your LA journey?
First time doing stand was actually in Ohio. I used to do it back there.
Oh, you did do it back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit, what is my date? It was 2000.
Did you stop and start again?
Yeah, I started 2004 or 2007.
Okay, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and I did it for maybe like 10 times. I can't even remember.
Yeah, a handful of times.
And then I had a really bad set once.
And that scared you? Scarred you?
Well,
Yeah,
I stopped because the problem was
because of the bad set though. You're like,
a
fuck
little
this.
bit of. Well, the problem was I was from Columbus, Ohio. There was only one open mic anywhere near me, and there was probably like 50 to 100 people every week that wanted to go on stage. They only had 10 spots, so you would have to audition in front of like the house comics. And they would pick who they wanted on the show.
Got
so
it. So
of course,
it became this political.
Yeah, they only pick their friends,
Yeah.
And so as an example, I think the last time I tried for 3 months, every Monday for 3 months, and I finally got on stage. And I was like, dude, I can't just call off work every week for months and only get 3 minutes. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, welcome to the Comedy Store.
Right, exactly. So I did my 3 minutes, got booed off stage because I did a Bob Hope joke that the day he died, and it was very like rude,
Bad timing.
timing.
Ari Shaffir-esque.
Yeah, well, yeah, my idols were Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope, and I was like, Doug would do this, So I did it anyway. Got booed off stage, and I was like, this isn't worth it. That was a funny joke.
So this was essentially your first time in front of a crowd too. You're saying because you had done the audition.
Oh no, I had gone up 10 times.
Okay.
But that was like 3 years of trying something like that.
Got it.
But this last time was just like the nail that, why am I doing this? This is not worth it. I've been trying so long and I get booed off stage. Like, fuck it. So I quit. And then right after that, Joe hired me and I moved to LA. And then within like a couple months of living in LA, I would go to every show that Joe would do.
Right, and you're friends with all these comics, and you're funny. And
so we were at Atlanta Punchline, sold out Joe Rogan show, and we're in the green room, and Joe goes, hey, you still got your jokes? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he goes, I want you to open up for me. You need to get back on stage and start doing this again. And I'm like, what? And so I had like 10 minutes to prepare.
You must have been terrified.
I was terrified. And luckily, like I did okay, and it made me really spark it. And like Joe was like, "Holy shit, dude, you did good!" And so then he just started throwing me in front of all these sold out shows.
Wow.
Pretty much what anyone that opens up, like Ian Edwards or whoever opens up for him now.
Yeah, except you had just started it back up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you were brand new.
I was. Yeah. Instead, I was brand new.
Yeah, I've seen that happen a few times. It's pretty cool. I always think about my very first time happened to be in front of a dope show too, because it was this competition in college. It was like a TBS comedy competition. So I was in front of a few hundred kids my age. And I did really good, even though it was my first time. But I always think if I bombed really hard or got booed off, I probably would have quit and never done that again.
Yeah.
I probably would have been like,
if it wasn't for
this.
Joe, I probably never would have done it. He really, I mean, pushed me to do it. It was a great cheat code too, because then for 3 years I was opening it for Rogan. I went from open mic to knowing shit pretty quick. You know?
Yeah, you're learning a lot fast and hanging out with a guy who's really good.
Yeah,
seasoned.
and I'll tell him my jokes. Like, do you write any jokes? And I'll tell him, he goes, well, you should change this and do that. And I'm like, okay, that was way better.
Dude, my first time ever performing in front of Joe Rogan, I was on Comedy Juice. Mark Saratella booked it. It was before he started going back to the Comedy Store. But like, obviously a big fan of his. And so he was supposed to go up after me, but he was late. So I was hosting and I had to stretch and do like 20 minutes when I had 10. So he gets there and I'm doing like old jokes that I hated.
Right.
And then like after the show, he's like giving me a tag on this old joke that I hate, but I didn't want to be like, I don't do those jokes. I was just doing them because I was stretching. So I just had to be like, thank you so much. But ever since then, I'm like, he must think I suck at stand-up.
Do you remember what the tag in the joke was?
It was, I don't remember. I remember the joke, but I don't remember the tag. It was a joke about taking a shit. And then he's basically like, you probably just shouldn't do shit jokes. Like Ari Shaffir has a really funny one, but like they're kind of hacky. And in my head, I was like, I know. But I was just like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he got on me about the poop jokes also. And then, because I had this idea that I wanted to have an hour shit joke, like poop joke, like just all poop jokes for an hour,
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
Like
just
go
a
against the
nasty
grain
set.
and just make it like that's the whole thing. And he was so against it.
Yeah, he's like, dude, don't do that.
And what sucked is that I had already like made maybe like 30 minutes of poop jokes. So now if you look in my hour currently, there's all these jokes filtered in that have poop in it. And it's not because, it's just because that's
what you had.
That's left over
I go
from
through
that.
phases. I had like, for a while, I had so much material on relationships because all I thought about was girls.
Right.
Now, my brother came out of the closet recently. I have
really?
like 15 minutes of gay material.
No shit.
And, yeah. I was thinking about making like a half hour on gays.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Just as a straight man, it's a little weird, but
That's weird.
I have so much material
That
on
would be
gays.
so interesting to have like a brother or a sister or whatever that came out, because then you have that special relationship with them. Like you could do something like you get out of the shower, like, do you like what you see?
No, I've never done that.
You kind of look like me. I don't know.
He's like, you're my brother. Yeah. Doesn't that make it kind of hot?
#1 searched on Pornhub.
That's true. I steps
That out of nowhere has gotten blown up during Corona.
Stepson, stepbrother porn is so
huge.
And you know what? I like it.
Yeah, it's not
And I
bad.
don't know why, because I don't have any step siblings.
It's not
or
bad.
a stepmom.
It's just I kind of like it because it's like, what kind of fucked up family do you have? You know, that you're fucking your sister. Kind of, I don't know.
How do you deal? This is something that I've only recently come across because I've only recently been in front of like big audiences and been on like Theo's podcast where people actually view it, and I've been getting a lot of hate. Yeah. And I know you get some hate, and it's just like when I first, like a Laugh Factory video
I get
came
more
out.
hate than anybody that you know, I think.
Even though I don't get a lot of hate, the amount of hate I got still like every time, even a little hate. Like the other day on one of my podcasts, I got some YouTube comment, and it's always from someone who has a picture of an animal. They don't even have any pictures of themselves, and there's no name. It's just some anonymous asshole. But it was on like a random episode of podcast, and they're like, "Oh, I love the guest. Who's this shitty host? Is he even a comedian?" Just like random shit like that all the time.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Well, when I got hired by Joe, I used to run his like website and his message board. He used to have this message board called Shit Talking 101, and it used to be all just trolling and shit like that, you know. And I think that just years of doing that and fighting trolls and trolling.
Oh, they were all trolling you on that?
Well, it was a little mix, you know, like me and Joe would troll people all the time. And like people would try to troll us, but we were like a gang of trolls, you know?
Yeah.
And anyways, so I've been doing that for maybe almost 20 years of just, you know, fighting trolls or trolling or whatever. And I think that really has toned it down. But because when I got hired by Joe, that's when the hate started happening because when we started the podcast, when we started Joe Rogan podcast, Joe had this fan base of all like buff UFC, MMA fighters guys, and then he had his comedy fans. Now his comedy fans were fine with me, you know, but the UFC guys hated me. And plus there was all these people that were jealous, like, why is Brian, you know, doing this?
Yeah, that's what I feel. A lot of it for me, I felt like is jealousy or anti-Semitism even I've come across.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesus. So I think, you know, to this day, I still probably block maybe like 10, 20 people a day. And it's,
that's a lot.
It's
and is it mostly on YouTube or?
Mostly YouTube, mostly Twitter.
And YouTube.
Instagram's pretty normal. Facebook's fine, but mostly Twitter. But it's mostly the same people just redoing their accounts,
making new
accounts and stuff like that. People just
and they just say like, "You suck, I hate you."
Yeah, it's stupid shit like that. Where they try to get under my skin, find things, you know, or whatever. But it's sad that I am so deaf to it now. Like it's like
it doesn't phase you.
It doesn't phase me. Like block, whatever, fuck block. Like it doesn't. It doesn't ever get to me anymore. Like I know people. Like I knew Brody. It used to really affect him. You know, like he'll think about somebody's one post all day, and it would overstress him. And I always have to talk. I'm like, fuck these guys. Who gives a shit? But it is sad because you know that has to go somewhere. All that constant hate has to build up somewhere. But you know, I feel fine. Like I don't ever think about it. There's been very few times where somebody has said something that's affected me. Like,
that's good. You know, I see it always affects me the day of, and then I'll sleep it off, and the next day I'm usually fine. But that one day, one of my Laugh Factory videos it was the teacher joke where I talk about how teachers shouldn't be paid, and I had like overwhelmed. You know, it's a edgy
hilarious.
joke.
You're right, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's a joke that obviously people aren't gonna like, even though it's a joke. I don't care about. Teachers should get paid whatever they want. I don't care.
Right.
But I had all these people saying I'm a horrible guy and blah, all these mean things commenting on my post. This guy's horrible, and it was just like that day was. Yeah. I was so sad and bummed out.
I mean, when back in the day with the Joe Rogan board, it got to the point where say somebody started trolling us or trolling Joe. I was so good at. Like I would search their IP address. I would do like hacker type shit. Yeah. Find out where they live, and then find their families. And I would like to post photos of their kids and stuff like that. Like I was such a like if there was ever a troll squad, of like police for the trolls or something like that.
You were doing 4chan
I would be like the captain of that, or I would have been the captain at the time. And I would even there was this one guy that would always troll, and I found out what he looked like and his girlfriend looked like, and I spent like a week making a flash animation video about his wife looking like Harry Potter, and it was so funny, and it also just hurt so bad that after that, he quit the internet. Like he had a website he took down. It was that powerful back then, But that's such a small amount of trolls or hate that I get now. Now it's just out of control.
Yeah, now that you can't spend that much time on it because it would take forever. Yeah. I remember one time I was hosting at the Ice House, and it was a dope show. Like I shouldn't have been on the show. I was hosting, but it was all people who were on TV and great comedians. And I was handing out free tickets after the show to come back. And this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, you're handing out free tickets? This place used to have funny comedians. This show was horrible, blah, blah." And it was such a good show. So I was like, this lady is such a bitch. I can't believe. So at that time, I interned for LaughStub, who made the website for the Ice House. So I was crazy. I logged into the Ice House website. I tracked everyone who bought a ticket. I searched them each on Facebook. I found the lady.
No.
On Facebook.
Serious? That's great.
Because I was just so angry about it, because it was like one thing to be mean to me, but she insulted the whole show, and she was so mean about she didn't have to say anything. She could have just said, "Thanks, see ya," and not come back if she didn't have fun. But so she was a teacher. She was this old lady teacher, and she had just released an iPad app for kids to learn how to read or something. So I went on Fiverr, and I bought 200 1-star reviews for her iPad app. And I was so angry that I just ruined
that's
her
awesome.
app. Yeah, the ultimate
Wow,
revenge.
that's great.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
I could tell. There's a couple things I can't tell you. I can tell you off the air, but it's just like that too. One, No, I better not even say that. But yeah, here's one I can say. Like, there was one woman that back in the day, I remember MySpace. They had MP3 players on your page so that you could have songs, and that would just play, kind of like. So you go to their website and the music just starts playing. And they usually have like a list of songs that you could choose from while you're on their page. And one woman linked one of my songs I had on my website on her player. So like, I forget what song it was. That was back in the day where I just had like free MP3 on my website. Like you want, you know, and she linked it on there. And it automatically played every time you went to her website. So I found her name was like Danielle or something like that.
So she basically took your thing and used it.
She was using my web traffic for her MySpace player,
right?
Or my whatever hosting, my web host. So her name was Danielle. So I spent like all day making a song about how Danielle likes like butt sex and shit like that, and then like just horrible stuff I said in this song.
Yeah,
and then I changed it on my website so the song that she was linked to was the exact same song file name. So you go to her website. You go and plays it?
Yeah. Oh my god! Did she ever say anything about it?
It took her like a day. People were like commenting on her website, like, "What's wrong with your website right now?" And I made a video of it. It's called Hot Link Hilarity. It's somewhere on YouTube. I think that you can watch. And I show the process of me doing it and like refreshing it.
Epic! How many views does that video have?
It got. I don't know because all my YouTube videos I had to re-upload because when Carlos Mencia shit happened, his lawyers threatened to sue YouTube and me, so they banned all my.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I had like 500 videos that I had made, and they took it all down. Took it all down.
Whoa.
Deleted everything. I was wiped off. Yeah, and they wouldn't even let me make new accounts. So I tried to make a new account, and they would just delete it and all and stuff like that. So that's why I went to Vimeo, and
I didn't know
I used to live on Vimeo for like 10 years.
Yeah, I remember you were on Vimeo, but I didn't know that was why.
Yeah, that was because Vimeo is like you paid for it. It's like
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's
they
whatever
need
you
the
want.
Subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. Now they don't. Now they're a horrible company again.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they remove videos? What happened?
They started doing the copyright shit now. So like
got it.
And they don't fuck around. Like they don't go, hey, we're gonna pay the copyright user or whatever.
They just take it down.
They just go, no, that's your first flag. If we get 2 more flags, we're deleting everything.
Wow.
And so if you had 10 years of videos.
Did you get deleted everything?
Oh, yeah. If you had 10 years of videos.
They deleted 10 years of your video?
I had like 20 copyright strikes because that's why I had my Vimeo. I didn't think, you know, who gives a shit?
You pay money and it's private. Right.
So I had to fight with them and appeal all these copyright strikes. And that's dangerous because if you appeal it, you might go to court. You know, you're pretty much saying, fuck you, take me to court.
Yeah.
So I appealed all of them, and then I got it down to like 2 strikes or something like that. So then I closed my account and put all my videos on private so that I at least have my videos. Can keep it. So that's why like I'll slowly start re-uploading everything to YouTube.
Got it.
Again, like I just re-uploaded all the Broad Nesters after he passed,
oh, cool.
you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, so it's like not really fair because like all those videos used to have tons of views, but then I had to re-upload them. And so it's fuck it.
Yeah, it'd be so like a kid died almost when you have like 100,000 subscribers.
It's happened to me so many times too. Especially the Mencia video. I had like millions.
So are you more careful now with what you upload and what you put in?
Oh, now you can't. Yeah, now it's pretty much no music.
So now you just keep it.
Right. The shit with Kill Tony, we used to have tons of music in Kill Tony. But now, not only do I have you have like a multi-track recorder where I can take the music out or mute it, but now like on live shows and stuff, I'll speed up every song by like 200%.
Why not just use copyright-free songs?
Well, because a lot of the jokes in the show is like, oh, your mom's cute, and then I'll play like Cherry Pie, like she's a stripper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now it's like, cherry pie, you know, like real quick, and I'll put some echo effects in it and stuff, just so it kind of flies underneath the radar, a little. But you know, it sucks. That's why one interesting thing that don't know if this would ever come true, like, you know, people hating on Rogan for going to the Spotify and stuff, is that might open up the doors because they're doing Spotify video over there. That might finally
use their music.
They want you to use music, you know, because then that artist gets paid.
Did they actually say you can use to him? He can use music.
No, I don't think they've said anything about that. But what I'm saying is
that'd be an interesting discussion.
Yeah, exactly, because that would be that's the positive that I thought of immediately when I heard about the deal. I was like, maybe this could fix the copyright problem because the biggest problem right now on YouTube is copyright problems, and also a lot of squatters, like kind of people that will put like a song up on YouTube saying free to use, and then so somebody uses it in their video, and then they're just lying just so they can get the
so they can get money.
Yeah,
That's
there's
interesting.
so much dirty shit going on. Or those free 100 free royalty free music on Facebook, and you buy it for $40 or something like that, and then they do the same shit too.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's bullshit.
I think the Spotify thing is a good thing for podcasting as a whole, the deal Joe Rogan made, because just Apple has such a big monopoly on things right now. It'll be nice
Plus,
just,
I love
just to
Spotify.
mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit worse for Joe Rogan listeners because now they have to use Spotify, even if they have a favorite one of choice.
Right.
But for everyone as a whole, I think it's good just because it pushes people away from Apple.
Yeah.
So that they are a little less powerful. Competition is good.
I was more like the whole Spotify thing didn't bug me because like again, who gives a shit about the podcast app? You know, it's like a shitty app anyway. And Spotify is such a great, if it's free, it's free. It's just another thing you push.
It's free.
But the thing I was more concerned about is the video, because I think like you and me, we rely so heavy on YouTube, like especially Apple TV. That's what I'm watching every night.
Now they're gonna have to make a
like
Spotify app
video app or something
like that.
So that's the only thing I think that's kind of because they just haven't done it yet. Once I think Spotify gets that.
Now you
out.
probably talked to Joe in depth about all this. Like, he'll probably take a little hit on listeners, but it's just worth it.
Yeah, I think it's if you listen to Rogan, you're going to find it.
Now, did he give you $10 million of the 200?
I can't talk about that stuff.
Oh, wow.
But we have a great profit sharing here at Talking Monkey Productions.
Is that what your production company's called?
That's his production company.
That's it. It's Talking Monkey. Now, you've started a few podcasts. How come you haven't followed through with any of your podcasts? Are you just too busy with the other ones?
A little bit. I mean, I have the What Brian Redban Do, which, I was doing for a while, and then I stopped. And my big thing is that when I was at the Ice House, I was doing so many podcasts. I was doing Rogan's, I was doing Ari's, I was doing Tom Segura's, I was doing Sam Tripoli's, I was doing Freddie Lockhart's, Brian Callen's. Like, I was doing... at one point, I was doing 11 or 12 podcasts a week, 2 to 3 hours each.
And you have to edit each one. It's a lot of work.
Edit video. So I did that for 5 years maybe. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm burnt the fuck out. I'm sick of doing podcasts. When we started Kill Tony, that's when around where it started. I was like, I'm going to focus all my energy on Kill Tony.
And it's worked.
Yeah. So I even told Tony, I'm like, hey man, I'm only doing 1 or 2 podcasts and Kill Tony. All my energy's on this. Let's make this work. And I think what really got it.
And Kill Tony, by the way, is a difficult podcast compared to the other ones you were doing too. It's like a lot more production is involved. There's so
different.
much more. Yeah.
So different. You don't understand. So many people are like, fuck you, Brian. That fucking sound sucks. I'm like, one, there's 8 microphones on a stage.
And it's not a permanent setup. You have to tear it down and reset it up each time. Which is hard.
And 8 people... you can't tell 8 people to hey, put your microphone close to your mouth. You have 8 different people doing that.
Yeah.
You
need people to help you. So it's like you're also there on the sound, so you have to have camera guys. And if they fuck up,
actually, I do all of it.
Oh, you don't have any camera guys?
No.
I thought you did.
No.
Did you before?
No, we just recently we started Dave Deary and Josh kind of helped out, helped me set it up.
Yeah, I know Josh used to help.
We pretty much I just set cameras on and then I go back and edit the
videos. Okay, so I didn't even realize. So you do all the camera stuff too.
Yeah. And so now we're working with 3 cameras, 4K editing. I have 8 tracks of audio.
Did you get a Mac Pro?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I got a nice one too. I upgraded the graphics card.
Okay, I feel like you can say this without looking crazy. How much was your Mac Pro?
Well, I bought it in 2 different chunks because at first
payments you mean?
No. I mean I bought it without with just the normal graphics card in it,
and I
updated everything else. I have almost a top processor, one below. I have I think 128 megabytes of RAM. I have a 2 terabyte drive, so I didn't get too crazy on the drive. And then after owning it, I was like, oh, that Afterburner card definitely
would be nice.
Would be nice. And
but you could buy that after.
yeah,
the
so
fact you put it in.
I bought the Afterburner card and the dual graphics card, which is that dual graphics card was like $7,000 or something like that.
So was this 30,000? How much was this?
It was probably in the 30s.
$30,000 for your Mac
And
Pro?
looking back, it was probably something like that.
Jesus Christ. That's sick. Yeah. And his podcast studio is located at.
Oh, no, that's at home. I don't. No, the studio has old Mac Pros, MacBook Pros.
That's sick.
No,
though.
but I need it because that's one of those things.
Oh, yeah. You use it.
It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, but you use it.
Before that, I had the top Mac iMac, maxed out, all the RAM, all the thing. And it would take one episode of Kill Tony is usually about 2 hours long, 4K video. It would take me, even with that high-end iMac, would take me about 2 hours to render.
Jeez.
And so then I would have to go, and then sometimes the render doesn't work. I have to go back and do something else. And that's not to mention the audio and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a big editing project, and you need a powerful computer to do it if you don't want to make proxies, which takes forever. And yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so how I look at it is my new Mac Pro now, that same 2 hour 4K video takes 20 minutes. So I'm saving so much time, and time is money and all that shit. So to me, it was 100% worth it. I was like, I'll get a loan out to reduce this even by 50%, and it's over 50% now. So in my books, I'm a million times.
Yeah. I mean, if I had the money and I would actually use it, what's better to spend money on something you use all the time? If you can, it's like, it's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
It's not like a Gucci wallet where it's just like,
I
flashy,
love it too. It's great. I tell you, one of the best purchases that just recently I started loving is because if you edit videos and stuff, you have a lot of different windows open up, and I got one of those monitors that's like
the ultra-wide monitors.
Yeah, super.
Oh, so you didn't go with the Apple monitors?
No, fuck that. Like I was like, I'd rather have it bigger, wider. I don't give a shit about the Apple monitor. That's that to me was too expensive.
They're very expensive. They are nice though.
They're nice, but they're also small. Like the monitor I have,
28 inches.
Yeah, the one I have literally wraps around my head.
Yeah, those are awesome.
And so when I first got it, I was like, this is hard to, this is a lot of monitor. But I would have like Final Cut Pro open here. I'd have, all the different programs. But during these like riots and shit, I have like 17 different windows of video.
Yeah, you're into like police scanning apps and stuff too, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
But so that definitely helped out during all this. It's just so much real estate.
Yeah, I couldn't go back to single monitor editing. I just have 2 4K monitors, but even that, it's awesome.
Yeah.
To have.
Yeah.
Okay, so from my perspective, you're doing well. All your dreams are coming true. You have a cute girlfriend. You have a nice place to live.
That's the one thing I needed to fix is my house.
Oh, you want to get a different house?
I want to buy a house. But
I thought are you renting right now?
I still live in the same place I've lived for a long time.
Do you own it or rent it?
No, I rent it.
Oh, for some reason I thought you owned a condo. Okay.
But no, I've been looking at houses, but the problem is I love where I live. I love Burbank. It's chill.
Isn't Burbank, I mean, it's still LA, very expensive, but isn't Burbank relatively on the cheaper side of LA? No,
it's actually like the last 5 years, it's gone crazy.
Got it. So how's there?
Yeah, like the house that's down the street from me, like was for sale like 5 years ago, and I remember going, "Wow, that's a lot of money. I can't afford it."
And now it's even more.
Now it's about twice as much
hey,
money.
maybe this recession's about to hit.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. Like, hopefully, a lot of people moved out of here. Dreams are crushed.
It might be a good time to buy it coming out.
Yeah. But yeah, but it's so stupid. Like Joe's been talking about moving to Austin, Texas recently.
Like for real moving?
For real moving. But I mean, he says that all the time. He's going to move. But he's been talking about it more lately, especially since all this stuff has gone down. And it's like I almost want him to do that because I still work for him. So if he moves, I got to move. And so
then you'd move to Austin.
I would
and
see
you could
that
definitely
to me,
afford a house there.
Yeah, exactly. Because the problem is there's a couple houses I've been looking at, and they're so nice and they're cool, and it's in Burbank, but they're still $1.5 million. And
oh yeah, it's crazy.
If I just
and that's for a normal house.
It's a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, you think, oh, this is a $1.5 million house. Yeah, it's going to be a mansion. No, it's a house.
No, as an example, that same house in Columbus, Ohio, would probably be $70,000.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. It's. I kind of want to, but then I just like
crazy.
I can't bring myself to do it.
I didn't know you still worked for Joe.
Oh yeah.
What do you do for him?
like I guess executive producer. I don't know what,
Okay,
what
cool.
my name would be. I'm like on call.
Got it.
You know.
You're like backup if he needs you to come in and
Right.
help him out. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you were like just helped him start it, so he hooked it up
No,
a little
I've
bit.
been
But
salary for 17 years.
well, I knew obviously I know
Yeah.
all of this you could say is because of you, or at least a big part of it is because all podcasting as a whole, like without podcasting,
I'm sure it still
you're a
would've
humble
happened.
guy, but I think you contribute a lot to especially comedy podcasting
Right.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought you were like just doing your own thing now. I didn't realize.
No. I still work for him. I probably always work for him because we've done so much together, type shit. I'm kind of like I when people ask me what is my role, it used to be this, it used to be this. Now it's kind of like I guess I'm just here if he needs me.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Which is great because I feel like I graduated or something, or which is great. But whatever.
Does your
I'm 45.
I'll edit this out. Does your girlfriend know your history of dating?
Well, the cool thing about my girlfriend, you don't have to edit this out, is that how I met her, she was a fan of mine, and she had listened to every single podcast I ever did and every single Joe Rogan podcast I ever did. So she knew every story that I've ever said.
Yeah.
So yeah, she
Because
knows
like when I
everything
met
about
you had like porn stars on your arms,
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to date 3 porn stars, many porn stars, but yeah, she knows it. She knows it all, like And what was weird is that up to dating the porn star part in my life, let's say 5 years of my life, up to that, I was an innocent baby, Ohio, good boy, mom, love my mom and dad,
LA corrupted you.
the porn star corrupted me. When I first started dating my first porn star, I was like
dating my first porn.
I never knew what blue balls was. Like that actually is a thing that happened to me that made me hurt. I was like, oh, why am I in so pain? Like,
do you ever get blue balls by mistake?
No, I haven't had it since. I only had it once,
Okay.
and it was so weird. I didn't think that was a real thing. I thought that was just a joke or something.
Oh yeah, I've had it.
Really?
Once I've had it so many times
God,
in my life.
Such a pain. I could see you having it all the time.
Well,
I could
no,
just
it's
see
just
you.
like I don't like having sex with girls on the first date. I know that sounds lame.
Why?
I've done it before.
Hey, let me help you out. Why?
Okay, I've done it before, but for me, I've noticed not every time, but if I have sex with a girl on the first date, I'm a lot less interested in her. You've kind of done it all. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean. Like, if you have that build, it just makes it better for me, and it makes me think about if I like her more, and I don't know, it just feels healthier to not have sex on the first date.
I mean, absolutely. I was just joking.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Because if it ever becomes a serious relationship, you don't want to be like, oh, my girl fucked on the first date anyways.
Right. I mean, I have done that too. I've had a girl I've had sex on the first date, and we've still been in a relationship and loved her and trusted her. But it's just better for me not to. But I'll do everything else on the first date, and I'll dry hump, and I'll make out, and I'll finger her. I'm getting graphic here, but I'll do everything else. So because of that, I just give myself blue balls a lot.
Bam. How embarrassing would it be if somebody comes out with an app that shows everybody dry humping? like somehow,
like just a simulation of what you would look like.
Can you imagine how you look dry humping somebody?
It's true. You're just like humping their leg. I never thought about that actually.
So gross.
Yeah, you'd look dumb, but everyone does it.
I know everybody does it, but can you imagine like famous people dry humping? Oh my God, Donald Trump the first time he met his girl dry humping. Ugh.
Did you see that picture of Donald Trump?
His dick.
Was that
spray
real?
tanning? I want to say
It
no.
looks so real.
It looks so real.
But it seems
I
like
almost want to say it's like an impersonator, and then they kind of like photoshopped his face. a little bit or something.
That's what I thought too.
But yeah, I
That's
wish
a great photo of that.
that was real.
Even if it is fake, you know that it would look. That's exactly how
what
it would look like. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a thing the other day on him, like 2 days ago, and he was doing some speech about something, and it's so funny with just looking at his eyes, how white around his eyes are. Like it looks so bad, like that spray.
I mean, he's old too.
I know.
He's in his 70s.
But it makes you wonder if he didn't spray tan, how much worse he would look. because I think he might be really horrible underneath that spray tan.
For sure.
Like when they took off the helmet, Darth Vader's helmet, and he was like all like, you know, because he looks so white, like ghostly white under there.
Yeah.
So
He
weird.
would probably look fucking weird as shit.
He's fucked, right? Like I thought maybe he would win the election this year.
Oh, you don't think he will?
I think after all this, I don't think so. I thought up to even during Corona, kind of.
Uh-huh.
But I think this last thing was maybe
With just him handling the protests?
Yeah, I think he handled that really, really bad.
It's tough to say. It's tough to say because I'd say both this election and the last one, no one's liked anyone. No one liked Hillary.
Right.
No one liked Trump. No one really likes Biden.
Yeah.
No one likes Trump.
I think Biden just sounds so refreshing right now, though, just because it's like, all right, even though he sucks and who gives a shit about his shit, at least it's just like, let's just calm down. Everyone calm down.
I can't predict who's going to win the presidency. I live in this weird bubble where the first time around I was like, there's no way Trump's going to win.
Right.
It's Donald Trump. There's absolutely no way. And
Right.
then he won. And I was walking around the comedy store and it felt like someone died that night.
Yeah.
It
That was a
literally
weird
felt
night.
it literally felt like the night Brody died.
Yeah, it did.
When Trump won the
I
election.
remember, I think Doug Stanhope was there that night. And I remember I was wasted and I was talking to Doug and it felt like 9/11, like the day after 9/11.
There were people crying.
Yeah.
People were like, I have to go home.
Yeah.
I have to see my wife. Like,
Yeah, actually, it was funny because that night I did a video where I was making fun of the people crying, and people thought it was real. And so then people like tweet me, go, "Oh, you fucking cried when Trump won." I'm like, "Aha, should I say anything?"
Dude, I had a girlfriend at the time who I'd been dating for 6 months. We broke up that night because I go to her place. She's literally bawling her eyes out because of Trump won.
Wow.
And I just don't take anything in my life that seriously.
Right. Me neither.
So I started
give a shit
laughing.
about it.
Yeah. I started laughing that she was crying. I'm like, dude, like, yeah, he's a shithead, but this isn't going to affect your life that much. You're in your 20s.
Right.
I don't know. I was insensitive to it and we broke up.
Damn.
Yeah, because of that night. Trump.
How long
ended
were
the
you dating her
relationship.
for?
6 months, but
That's that's pretty. Now, have you talked to her since?
no.
You should send her a message and go, "You still thinking about Hillary?"
Yeah, I wonder what if she's like a Trump supporter now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like looking back at it, people were so like upset that Trump won, but like I don't know. I never thought Hillary would be a great president. Like, who gives a fuck anymore?
Yeah, most people would just say she's the lesser of two evil.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who actually loved Hillary.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Biden. Like, I was like, I think our country just needs to calm down. I don't think Biden's the answer, but I also don't think Trump saying that old man that got pushed was in like. Did you hear about that?
I saw the video of
so
the
you
old
saw
guy
the
getting
video.
away, and his head's on the ground. There's blood.
Yeah, there's
spewing
blood.
out.
The old man.
So insane.
It's
That
so
video
horrible.
looks. When I first saw the video, I was like, "Is that fake?"
You didn't read what Trump said about it?
What did he say?
Oh my God!
I've been shutting off the news lately because it's so repetitive.
Let me find
But
it
I
for you
guess-
because you have to know the.
but I saw the video.
quote.
I did see the video of the guy with the blood pool.
This is like one of the examples of why I think he might be done with. He, instead of saying, that was horrible about the old man and stuff like that, he wrote, Buffalo protester shoved by police could be an Antifa proactivator. Or what's that word? Provac.
Oh, I did see this.
Yeah.
And he said like it looked like he fell harder than he needed to or something like that.
No. He said 75-year-old Martin was
Oh, wait, maybe I didn't see it.
pushed away after appearing to scan police communications in order to block out their equipment. I watched. He fell harder than was
Yeah,
pushed.
yeah.
Was aiming scanner. Could be a setup.
Yeah. He fell harder than was pushed. He's basically saying like that old guy was asking for it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he was trying to block their scanners. Like, did you see the old man? Does he have like equipment in his hand? Like that.
By the way, even if he did.
He's an old man.
Yeah, it's an old man. It's like Louis C.K. has this joke where he's watching a 90-year-old man getting secondary screening at an airport, and he goes, I know what you're saying. Well, where do you draw the line? That guy's the line.
Right.
If he has a grenade, let him keep it.
Yeah. That to me, it's just, that's sad, because
It's so sad. Did he die?
I don't know, man. But did you see when he was just laying there and the blood just
Yeah.
starts coming out of
I
his
thought it was fake when
I
the
thought it was
first
fake
time I
too.
watched it. I was like, did someone like Photoshop the blood or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah. So that's the problem I have because that shows zero compassion. That shows because before he became
He's an idiot. That's
before
what
he
I think.
became president, I know Alex Jones very well, and he was
You
friends.
do? Wait, why do you know Alex Jones very well?
Through Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
But if you haven't seen Alex Jones fart cup, I highly recommend Googling that on YouTube.
Did you make that?
Yeah, it's a video where I fart in a cup and put in Alex Jones' face. It's great.
Oh my gosh.
But
Sounds
he was
awesome.
friends with Trump, and he was on Trump's show all the time talking about conspiracies like aliens and Tower 7 and shit like that. Like,
Trump was on Alex Jones' show?
Trump,
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, and Trump would call in and be like, yeah, I think, JFK was an alien. I'm like just saying crazy conspiracies all the time. And I was like, no one's going to take this guy serious. He's like paranoid. Like he's a paranoid guy.
Yeah.
Then now he's doing the same shit, but as the president of the United States.
He's just made America like the laughing stock of the world.
I know.
I'm ready for that.
It's embarrassing.
I think it's too late, but I'm ready for that to
Yeah.
lean towards ending.
Yeah.
Trust me. Like I'll literally go to another country and they'll be like, "Where are you from?" I'll be like, "United States," and they'll literally like smirk on their face. That's
It's
the reaction when
embarrassing.
you say you're from the United States. They go,
Yeah.
"What do you think about Trump?" Like that's the first question anyone asks.
If you had to move somewhere, where would you move?
To another country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd either want to go to a third world country where I could live like a king for rich or for not a lot of money, or Australia. I loved too.
You loved Australia?
I loved Australia.
Australia was pretty cool.
And that way, it's like kind of like America. Everyone speaks English. It wouldn't be a crazy transition.
You know, the weird thing I thought about Australia, I thought it was like how weird it was that you as an American think like Australia is like the Wild West. Everyone gets drunk every
Not
night
at
and
all.
stuff. Their bars close like at midnight or 11 o'clock or something like that.
To
every
me,
night.
Australia was like America 2.0.
Yeah.
It was cleaner. The people were nicer, more chill.
You don't like
Higher
Canada?
standard of
See,
living.
I'd
I
probably
like
go to
Canada a lot too, but Canada's cold. Australia is more like San
true.
Diego weather, or at least certain parts of it.
That's true.
Sydney, Australia was pretty dope.
Yeah, Sydney was my favorite. Yeah, I'd probably say that's good. I'd never.
But Canada, people are really nice. Yeah, it's also Canada's awesome.
Also, Australia had really good sex laws, or like.
Oh yeah, they had brothels.
Brothels.
I
yeah.
walked into one. But I didn't
My
do it.
hotel was right next to it, and I don't know because it was legal. I was like more scared about it. I was like, no,
It's still like, even though you know it's legal,
Right.
walking in, you still feel like,
yeah.
where am? What is
Yeah.
this going to be like? Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either, but I was very interested in it because it was like a strip club, but it also was a brothel. It was
The one I went to was a bar brothel.
Oh.
So you sit at a bar and there's pool tables in the back, and
no
then
shit.
the girls just
You couldn't
come
do it?
in. I didn't actually do it because I don't know if I went at a weird time, but I walked in, there was like 20 guys in there and 2 girls,
Oh, yeah,
and they weren't cute either.
right.
And yeah.
I was
don't wanna
wondering,
do
like, strip clubs going to be able to come back 100% like they used to be?
It'll be like the Comedy Store. All right, we're letting 10 guys in.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to touch them. They're going to dance on the other side of the room for you.
If strip clubs, I mean, to me, strip clubs, especially in LA, are so
Gross, anyways.
scummy.
Yeah.
And like all
They're
the people
horrible.
that work at them are scummy
Yeah.
and trash. It's like if those went out of business,
I wouldn't
good
care.
riddance.
Yeah, I'm a huge strip club fan, but not anywhere close to Los Angeles. Like,
Yeah, I think Vegas has some cool ones.
Vegas is cool. Texas is probably my favorite.
Oh,
Texas and
interesting. I've
Atlanta
never been to
are
one
my
in
2
Texas.
favorites. Yeah, Texas. You haven't been to Texas?
Oh yeah, remember did we go to the strip club together?
Yeah.
I don't remember when we were in Vegas. Yeah, I
Spearmint
was
Rhino
pretty
or
drunk.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a crazy night.
Yeah, there was that rich guy who paid for everything.
What a weird ass night. Trying
Yeah.
to block that out of my head.
But we didn't do anything.
I
We
know,
literally like
it's fine.
sat there for
Yeah.
10 minutes
Yeah.
and then left.
Yeah.
It was pretty uneventful.
No, but you haven't been to Texas though?
Not strip clubs.
Texas is like when they made a strip club, what the ideal should be. That's how it is. Like full nude, one. Like I hate how strip clubs, if they have alcohol, they don't have, So this is full nude. You could pretty much say it's the hottest women outside of a strip club or inside of a strip, like just
So
the hottest
beautiful
women.
women, yeah.
Just the hottest. All of them have like the best food too. Like
At the strip club?
At the strip club.
At
like,
night too?
Yeah, like me and Joe would just go there to eat like some of the best food. Like there was one place we went to. I think
But
was
is
in
it weird to then get a lap dance when you're all bloated from food and have stinky breath?
True.
Yeah.
True. I didn't even think about
That's
that.
the part of, like, in San Diego, I hear like about these strip clubs that have buffets, like all you can eat buffets. I'm like, that just sounds such a weird combo.
Yeah, well, you don't think about food in strip clubs usually, but other places, that's where you get like that's where the best steakhouses are. And like
Weird.
like Atlanta, we went to this place, and like shrimp cocktail. They had these shrimps. I've never seen it like that big before and like that thick. Like that's
just awesome shrimp
amazing.
cocktails.
Like I didn't even know shrimp could get that big. Best steaks ever.
Sounds nice.
Yeah,
Let's make a trip
let's go to strip club.
once everything opens back up. So no problems in your life.
Not
You're
really.
perfectly
I mean,
happy.
Shit. Definitely need to start working out. Corona got me good this time.
The hiking trails are back home, but it's 90 degrees now. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I just want my gym to open back up because even when I was a member of my gym, I didn't really go that much. But right when Corona started happening, I was like, damn, I wish I could just go to the gym right now.
Yeah.
Because it's usually I'm finding time to go to the gym when I'm not,
yeah, now that we have all the free time.
all
we
the
can't
free
go.
time ever. I don't know how many times I was like, God damn it, I wish I could do
I
it.
kind of wanted to get a stationary bike for my apartment, but then I thought about it. I was like, only old people have stationary bikes in their apartment.
Well, that's one
It
of
makes
those-
you look old when someone walks in and you have a stationary bike.
Right. I wanted to get a Peloton, and then I used to have one of those ellipticals, and I had like this nice one that had like all the displays and like that Bluetooth and shit. But again, I just sat there. I would use it. I used it for like 3 months hardcore, and then I didn't use it for 4 years. And then one day I was like, "Fuck it!" I just threw it out in my backyard, and somebody took it. But,
Oh, damn. Could have gotten some money
know.
for that.
But things like that, it's like I don't come to my house and check
Right.
it out. And,
Okay, I think I only have one final question. So you've been doing comedy, you could argue, since 2007 or whatever, since
Yeah.
you started back up in LA. What has been your biggest failure, biggest regret? Has there ever been something where you're like, man, I really fucked that up? Or, man, if I had done that better, I would have gotten this. Is there
for
like an
stand-up?
audition you've blown or a set you've blown for someone? Has there been, do you have any regrets? Or not, maybe you don't regret it, but something where you think, man, if I had just done a better job right there.
Let's see. Biggest regret.
It doesn't even need to be a regret. Just something where, like, man, I auditioned for this movie and I forgot my line. I don't know, something where you just fucked it up. Like a cool. Have you fucked up any dope opportunities in LA?
I'm sure I have. I'm the worst at that kind of shit because I'm one of the very few comedians or people that live out here that really is trying to make it. Like, I want to be a superstar.
Right.
I want to be on a TV show and stuff like that because I already feel like I have the best job working with Joe. It's like it's pretty much ideal. So I'm sure. Fuck. I feel like that I have something.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just chilling.
Oh, I guess one thing would be when I started Death Squad.
How did you think of the name Death Squad?
It's old, long time ago. Me and Joe and like 5 other people, like Tate Fletcher and Ari Shafir, I think, or just a couple other people. We were doing Opie and Anthony. And it was like after 9/11, and it was like there was all these terrorist cells and stuff. And I guess on the news, Opie and Anthony were watching the news, and they were talking about death squads. Like, oh, they captured another death squad in Saudi Arabia or something like
interesting.
that. And so when we walked in, we used to roll with a gang. Like Tate Fletcher, he's that huge
dude.
guy. And so Opie said something like, oh, look at this death squad walking in here,
And you just took that right
Well,
with it.
and then after that, we used to always jokingly call each other Death Squad. Like me and Joe be like, let's grab the Death Squad together and go to the bars or something like that. And so when Joe Rogan podcast became successful, I told Joe I had this idea to make a podcast network where I could do podcasts for Ari and Joey or whoever wants it, like all our friends. And he's like, that's a great name. And I was like, I'm just going to call it Death Squad because that's what we call ourselves anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how we got it. But I think the thing is that when like looking back at that, that was all me paying for it. Like we didn't have sponsors, still don't really at Death Squad, except for Kill Tony. But so all my paychecks I would just spend on equipment, spend on
Right.
rent, spend on making these shows for all my friends that are now making tons of millions of dollars, and I
Right.
should get a cut of that too. But I think my biggest regret is that I didn't take that instead of making it a hobby that I was having fun doing. I didn't take it serious. Where I didn't get business minded about it. I didn't have contracts.
But it was also hard to predict. Like for
Yeah.
you, it was kind of this fun project,
But-
your hobby, like you said. You didn't know that everyone was gonna have a big
But
career.
even
from
when
it.
I was in the thick of it, even when like Ari had already moved on and Tom Segura had already moved on, I was like, I should have contracts. You should get sponsors instead of making it this pirate radio underground thing that I like. I should have built up more of a business model of it because then I look at places, like the Nerdist and shit like that. These
Right.
companies that got bought for millions and millions of
Right.
dollars, and I could have done that,
Easily.
Because at a point I was on top of everything on that, and instead I was like, "Fuck it, I don't care. This is all more about a hobby of mine and more of I want it to be." Underground and piratey. I don't want to have employees.
Right. You
I
don't want to have contracts because they're your friends, and you're like, let's come in and do this.
Yeah, because it's more just like I like doing it and having fun, and I want to help my friends out,
Yeah.
instead of being what I should have done if I was thinking about money and business. I think that's the biggest regret because looking back at it, I mean, I could have a house in Malibu right now. I could have a house anywhere I fucking want.
Yeah,
right now.
this Burbank $1.5 million house,
Yeah,
you'd be like,
yeah,
who cares?
that's
Let's just buy one. I'll buy another one in Austin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it is kind of sad thinking about that.
It's also one of those things where when you're younger too, you're like, I don't care. I don't need a house. I have my apartment. It's nice.
Right.
And then as you get older, you're like, it'd be nice to own a house.
Yeah. Well, my problem is my apartment, I've lived there so long that there's so much damage to it. Just not damage I've done just from living like the floor is just starting to fall apart and like little things to the point where I don't even want my landlords to come in and fix it because that means we have to take everything out of your living room and
Right.
and I was like I just need to move out. But the problem is it's like the place I live in would go up rent probably like $1,500 this
Right,
day
you
I
have a
move
good deal
out.
'cause you lived there for so long.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's so hard. Yeah. So I guess just not being as business minded as I should have been in the past. Because
maybe from here on out. Maybe,
yeah. I mean, Kill Tony's totally different.
Maybe Kill Tony will get a $50 million Spotify deal.
Yeah,
$100 million.
exactly. Kill Tony's totally different. That's the first time where we've had sponsors. We've been.
I'm still surprised that's not a TV show.
Yeah, but in these times, it's so politically incorrect that I don't think it could be a TV show anymore.
It would be a shitty version of Kill Tony.
Shitty version.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been made a shitty version of Kill Tony.
We've had many people trying to do that. We had Vice at one point. We had a couple of Comedy Central. But the thing is that why nowadays more people are watching YouTube.
Right, yeah,
than they
you
are
almost
watching-
make more money
Yeah.
podcasting than you would
Right,
with the TV show
right,
version.
Yeah, and we don't have to censor it. We can make it how long as we want because like a lot of these places, like we're going to edit the episode down to 22 minutes.
Hey, but you could still keep doing the podcast and have the shitty
and
TV
that was
version.
another thing. A lot of these places
Wanted one or the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They wanted to have a
Fair
little
enough.
bit more control, and I don't think it's nowadays. Like me and Tony are doing good, and it's only getting better every year.
Yeah, it's
so.
only growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And watching Joel Jimenez and Jeremiah and all these people that are
Jeremiah is such a
getting big
psycho.
followings from being on it.
yeah.
Jeremiah is a psycho.
Yeah.
But like a sweetheart, harmless
Sweetheart
psycho.
psycho,
Like a psycho that you could leave in your house for a week and know that nothing would get damaged.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I don't know if I should say this, but we always have this joke that he's like the serial killer of the group, because of how nice
If
and
I had to
positive
pick,
he is.
if I had to pick a
Yeah,
serial
if
killer,
you had to pick one cast member that is
I don't
a serial
think Jeremiah's a serial killer, but if I had to pick one, it'd be Jeremiah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
'Cause it's-
Joel's too much of a softie.
killer.
Yeah, you're too cuddly and drunk.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't kill him.
Tony's.
Well, I don't know.
Tony.
Maybe
Yeah,
Tony.
maybe
No,
Tony,
Tony
actually.
would
Yeah,
actually.
maybe Tony or
Tony would
Jeremiah.
actually.
Yeah,
I
Tony
changed
would
my
be the
mind.
killer. Yeah,
I
Tony's
mean,
the
it's
killer.
funny to say that Jeremiah is the serial killer.
No, it's Tony.
But it's
No,
totally
no.
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he would be smart about it and get away with it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Jeremiah would feel guilty and then say, "Hey, just so you know, I
Turn
killed your
himself
mom.
in. Yeah.
I'm sorry."
He would walk backwards into the police station with his hands behind his back.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm coming in. Do I have your attention?
Well, thanks for doing my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I think this is like maybe the 5th time we've tried to do a podcast
Is it?
in the last 3 years.
I don't even. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess we did. I forget about it.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate it. And like, I don't know. You were one of the first people to give me a show, like to put me up at stand up when I moved out here, and you put me on an old DeathSquad.tv show, and it was just you were always really cool and nice. And
I think you're one of the closest guys I know, Ari.
Thanks, man. Wait, don't touch me. There's Corona. Your hands are full of Corona. Yeah. No, but yeah, I remember McCullough introduced us at the bar of the Comedy Store. I still remember that, and I was like, not starstruck, but I knew who you were, and it was just cool to meet you, and then you were just cool, and we've been friends ever since. It's really cool, so thanks for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to you later.
All right, see you.
Bye. You're listening to Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.